That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? Unironically, you know what I think one of the most perfect movies I've ever seen is? Borat. I actually thought that perfect for what it was made to be and made to do. It was an utterly flawless film. I remember I watched that, man, and besides laughing my ass off from start to finish, that movie so uncomfortably held up a mirror to our culture. Just held a mirror up and forced us to look at ourselves. And I thought it was brilliant on that level. You now tell me that guy is going to be in the MCU playing Mephisto? I'm like, huh. Well, Ironheart finally came along, which I still think was a very odd choice to be your introduction to Mephisto. But you finally brought in Mephisto. Sacha Baron Cohen was deliciously perfect in the role. Man, and when he would switch between accents and all, like he came across as unfathomably powerful. Like Dormammu, that guy can't wipe my ass. I'm like, okay, holy shit. And like he could come across so menacing and so smooth and so charming at once. It was easily the best part of Ironheart. And the way he played it and the way him and Anthony Ramos played off each other as well in those scenes, I thought was brilliantly done. Well, how do you have a character like Mephisto and not use him more? So despite the fact of what we were just talking about with Kevin Feige saying they're going to separate the TV and the movie universe more, Kevin Feige's coming out now saying, oh, Mephisto's playing a significant role in the MCU moving forward. He's playing a significant role. And for that, Sacha Baron Cohen, 53-year-old Sacha Baron Cohen, has just got himself jacked. This is coming us from Deadline. Sacha Baron Cohen pumped transformation from Borat to Marvel's Mephisto photos. Check out the cover of Men's Fitness. We'll just give it a second. Very nice. That's Borat.
Success.
Success. I keep waiting for him to reference his wife's vagine is floppy like wizard sleeve. Why, by the way, one of the greatest lines in any movie ever.
He got divorced though.
He did. Yes.
Which is great because Isla Fisher
is now available. But I mean, and maybe I don't know, maybe the workout routine has more to do with the divorce. Maybe he's like, well, I'm single again. I got to get back out to the dating scene. But holy crap, this dude's 53 years old.
And it says from Borat to buff in 25 minutes a day. For all the people that call me fat all the time online, maybe there's hope for me too.
There's hope for all of us, Rob. There's hope for all of us.
25-minute workouts and I can look like that?
You do it every day.
I'm sure diet had something to do with it too. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess he doesn't eat as much ice cream as I do. But he's looking great. But, you know, Deadline goes on and they write this. Exclusive. Marvel chief Kevin Feige said in a press gathering this week that Sacha Baron Cohen's Mephisto character will be prominent as the next MCU supervillain. For his part, Baron Cohen transformed his physique as evidenced by the cover of Men's Fitness UK. Baron Cohen has plunged himself into character creations like Borat, Ali G, and Bruno. That was the other character, Jonathan, Bruno.
Yeah, Bruno, yeah.
But the work he put into his body with Alfonso, the angry trainer Moretti, indicates playing a shredded Mephisto is more than a one-off for the actor. All right. Let's talk about this for a second. Like, besides the fact that I'm just amazed the type of shape he's been able to get himself into. But you know what? Whenever I see celebrities get like this, the excuses I hear people make. Well, if I had a full-time trainer, I could look like that too. No, you can't. You know why? Because you and I don't have the determination, discipline, and willpower okay, he got himself the trainer. He still has to do the things he needs to do and not eat the things I want to eat. Well, you and I, my friends, have no excuse.
That's the thing. That you listen to Hugh Jackman talk about the fact that how much chicken can one man eat? You know, and it gets to the point where you don't. I see food as a sensual pleasure. You know, your favorite things that you like to eat, and it's delicious to drink or whatever. You can't do that.
No.
When you're working out.
All your cravings, you actually like, just like when you're coming off of drugs, you know, your addictions to like those foods
and
make you aggressive.
And by the way, some people say, well, then he's using some supplement sort of thing. Here's the thing. Like, even here's the direct thing about steroids. The big misunderstanding about steroids. People think you inject yourself with steroids, muscles grow. That's not how steroids work. You actually have to be in the gym even longer. What the steroids do is they facilitate the regrowth of the tissue and the muscle as a result of your working out. So it enhances the results of your workout. But you still got to be in the gym and doing the stuff you need to do. So anyway, side note about Sacha Baron Cohen. The Mephisto stuff. Because look, you bring in a character like Mephisto. You were just talking about Secret Invasion, Rob. Like, how do you have this global, worldwide, major geopolitical event happen and it's never even been once mentioned?
No, it's...
You can't bring in a character like Mephisto, a dark lord of them all, who scoffs at Dormammu as some insignificant whelpling.
Plus, in this picture right here, he looks like Louis Safier from Angel Heart, like the young version of De Niro. And yeah, Mr. Safier, not knowing what it really means.
Oh, dude, again, even in that scene
that
as he's switching between accents, it just killed me. But you can't bring in a character like that and not say, this is not going to have major implications. This is not going to have major ramifications. This is clearly going to be a big deal, and I don't think it's going to be connected to Ironheart. Although, when you look at the end of Ironheart...
Well, you know who Mephisto would fit right in with? Blade.
Blade, Doctor Strange.
Supernatural, you know.
Midnight Suns.
Yeah, Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider. A returning Wanda, although I don't think Wanda's ever returning. But I mean,
could be.
There's a lot of areas there that they could. Although I will say this too. As much as I ended up not being a fan of the Ironheart show, full marks, man, to them. I know I've said this before. I will say it again. I wish I liked the show more because the way they ended that show was one of the absolutely, maybe the ballsiest thing I think Marvel has ever done with one of their Disney Plus shows. Absolutely the most baller thing they've done. That ending I thought was gutsy, unpredictable, and I thought utterly fascinating. It was so great, it made me mad that I didn't like the rest of the show.
Yeah.
But with Mephisto, you separate him from just the Ironheart thing. Now, I don't know that what Kevin Feige was saying here was that Mephisto is the next Thanos, like after Doomsday. Like, he's the next Doctor Doom. So yeah, Thanos, now Doctor Doom, and then after Doctor Doom. I don't know if he's necessarily saying that, but he's clearly saying he's going to be a prominent villain for the cinematic universe moving forward.
Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. You know, it feels like workplace stress is higher than ever these days, and I was just reading that about 61% of the global workforce is dealing with above normal levels of stress, and honestly, it's not surprising. When you're stuck in endless Zoom meetings, juggling deadlines, or just trying to keep your head above water, it adds up. Now sure, a quick vacation sounds nice, but let's be real. It's not a long-term fix. What's helped me is building small wellness habits. For me, it's things like getting outside in the sun for a few minutes, or squeezing in a brisk walk during breaks. But for a lot of people, sometimes that's just not enough, and that's where therapy can really help. BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform with over 30,000 therapists who've already helped over 5 million people worldwide. Their app is super convenient. You can meet with a therapist with just a click, and if it's not the right fit, you can switch therapists anytime. And just listen to the user reviews. The BetterHelp app has a 4.9 out of 5 from over 1.7 million reviews. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Campea. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Campea.
Rob, what did you take away from Feige's comments? And we've already thrown out a couple of names, but if we flesh it out and think about it a little bit more, how do you see Mephisto fitting into this Marvel Cinematic Universe?
It's a good question because I've been thinking about this. I say Blade only because there's obviously a huge supernatural component to him. But within the MCU, does a character like Mephisto have connections to, say, the Celestials?
Oh, that's a good question.
Or the Infinity Stones? You know, because you're dealing with...
Does he exist outside of the TVA?
Yeah. I mean, all that stuff. Is he truly the devil? You know, and if he is, that means that what is his relation to the creator of the universe? You know, or how are they going to, here's the thing I always want to know. What is the cosmology behind this character? And I think in the MCU, they kind of have a tendency, like they'll just introduce Arishem the Judge, and all of humanity sees this giant celestial that's multiple sizes bigger than the Earth. No one mentions it again. I mean,
shouldn't we be getting ready for? Remember that dude? He said he's going to come back to judge us.
Yeah,
should we
is anyone paying attention to that?
Should we be doing anything to get ready for that?
Have we hired a barrister to argue our case? I mean, you know, whatever. But the thing is, that's what I want to know, and that I think that kind of cosmology is what helps us. I mean, look, they did the best they could explaining the Infinity Stones. And it was really, even though you have that exposition dump at the beginning of Infinity War when Wong explains it all, it all worked for me. I was like, okay, you know. And then when you meet the Ancient One in that alternate universe, when Hulk's like, I need that, she's like, no, you can't have it. Oh, okay, maybe they're giving you a sense of how this all works. And Mephisto is a character, as is the entire supernatural of the MCU or whatever. It's got to be explained. Like, where does Mephisto live when he's not Mephistoing? When he's not
Mephistoing.
Yeah, I mean, where does he?
That sounds like something lonely guys do in their basement on Thursdays. I'm saying.
Well, maybe that's what Mephisto does when he's not working. He's controlling everyone's impure thoughts. But no, I mean, in real life, like, where does he go? Look, I'm still puzzling over Samara from The Ring when she's waiting for people to watch her videotape. Like, where is she living in the afterlife when she knows when everyone puts a tape in their VCR? I obsess over this, and that movie came out in 2001. And that was a remake of the original Sadako Japanese version. And I want to know, what is the cosmology behind all this? And with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like, you got to explain it. You got to tell us, where does Mephisto go? Where does he reside? Where does he make his plans? Does he have an assistant? Does he use social media? I mean, I laugh, but I want to know, because he apparently needs to be where he needs to be at certain times. How does he draw his plans against us?
Here's an interesting proposition for you. One of the most fascinating Doctor Doom storylines in comics has a little connection to Mephisto. What if we're going into Doomsday? What if we're missing something obvious here? What if we're talking about a Doctor Doom who's already made a deal with Mephisto? What if that is like, because a lot of people I've been asking going into Doomsday, how can this guy suddenly elevate, this Victor Von Doom suddenly elevate to being the greatest threat in the universe? Maybe he makes a deal with Mephisto?
Yeah, he went down to the crossroads, made a deal with the devil.
What is it you're supposed to bury at the crossroads? You're supposed to go... The mythology goes, they do it in Supernatural too. You're supposed to go to a crossroad and bury something in the middle of the crossroad and then say something, and, you know, a demon will appear to grant you a wish. But yeah, maybe Mephisto gets integrated into the MCU as early as Doomsday, or maybe we're not even going to have to wait until after Doomsday.
I mean, I would actually love that. You know, Mephisto went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a bind because he was way behind. He was looking to make a deal. When he came across this armored man, armored man. I mean, it could be, you could do that. That would be a really cool. Can you imagine, like the movie Legend, Ridley Scott's Legend? Like, that's the underworld. Like, Mephisto is the Tim Curry version.
That's a nice comparison,
right?
Like that.
You know, and you're in that underworld, and somehow Doom shows up there, and, you know, I don't know. I think about this stuff way too much, John. Way too much.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? Not only is, like, full credit and hats off, respect, man, to Sacha Baron Cohen for the shape he's got himself in to play Mephisto, who Kevin Feige is saying this is going to be a significant villain in the MCU moving forward. How do you feel about that? How do you see him fitting in? Do you think maybe they'll start bringing him and getting him more involved in the MCU as early as Doomsday, or do you think maybe they'll wait till after that? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.